just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, large tanker, very large. Largest one ever seized, actually. And other things are happening, so.
Can you explain a little more about this Venezuelan oil tanker and share a little more information?
Well, I'll let the people do it, but you see the result, and I guess they probably have released the pictures by now, pretty soon. You'll discuss that with the appropriate people later on, but no, it was seized for a very good reason.
The oil tanker, who owns that oil tanker?
You'll get that information later.
Okay, and have you spoken to Maduro since your last conversation?
No, I
I've
haven't.
only been one conversation.
No.
We're interested in the seizure of this tanker. What happens to the oil on that ship?
Well, we keep it, I guess.
Where does it go? What port does it go to?
Well, you have to follow the tanker. You're a good newsman, just follow the tanker.
Do you know where it was
Follow-
going? Was it going to
follow it. Get a
China?
helicopter and follow the tanker.
Is it true it's going to
But
Cuba?
we're gonna, I assume we're gonna keep the oil.
This is them coming down on the ship to seize the ship with their guns. Fan out. Trump is not the first president to do it. It's real rare for a president not to do it. We're going to look at a history of other presidents that seized the package, aka oil tankers. Assalamu alaikum, shalom, hotep, assalamu Allah, peace to the gods, peace to the goddesses. I'm your brother in the struggle for peace, truth, freedom, justice, and equality, Brother Minister Alifullah. Beloved, today we're going to look at something that just popped up in the news regarding President Trump and his seizure of a oil tanker in Venezuela. First, I want to point out the legal issue, if you will. Trump is not making new laws. What he's doing is he's really taking old laws and just pushing them all the way to the edge. Like it always been on the books. One thing that we have to understand about the United States of America and its origins. The United States of America did not begin as a turn the cheek, love your enemies, Christian loving, holy roly nation. It got established by imperialism, colonizers. That's just the reality of this thing. So you got to understand, once you take a people's land, once you take North America, Central America, and South America, once you take Canada, once you take the islands, human nature is such that you're not trying to get that up. They're not trying to get that up in ancient Nubia, when the Nubians invade Kemet or Egypt, and they take their horses and land and gold and enslave people. They're not trying to get that up when you have the ancient Greeks, the Romans, the Chinese, the Persians, Iranians, the Babylonians, the people of Iraq. That's just the reality of it. The history of the Moors, the people on the island of Haiti, Cuba, Jamaica, you name it. Human beings always struggle for autonomy, freedom, justice, and equality. They always want to be able to enjoy their brief span of life on this planet. So when you have, say, the Aboriginal Australians living over there doing their thing, once the British come, they're not thinking like they're thinking. And see, what we have to understand is we can't expect America to think the way we think. The messenger said, black people have a heart of gold. Such a heart nature didn't give to the oppressor. So your press is not going to, you know, just all of a sudden want to sing Kumbaya. And it's like, no, you know, gangsters make this world go round, black and white, as we will see. All right, let's look at some reigns of different presidents and see a pattern here, if you will. Because if you understand the mathematics, the logic, that you're talking money and you're talking national security, don't ever think the president of the United States will not do whatever he or she, black or white president, has to do to keep that money and to make sure them borders are secure from an enemy within or without. We're going to get back to the within part a little later because that's important for black men to understand out here on these streets. All right. Let's look at the chronology here. It could go back further. We could literally, you know, take it all the way back to George Washington technically, but we're just going to take President Carter. His reign was from 1977 to 1981. He seized the Iranian ship and took all the money, took all the cargo. All right. Now, in order to do that, a president has to have what they call legal justification. It's real simple. Presidents have broad powers. They have executive powers. They have countless laws on the books. See, you gotta understand, if you write the law and you enforce the law, hey, you could write whatever you want. I mean, you got a blank check, if you will. All right. So President Carter used what they call the International Emergency Economic Powers Act as his legal justification. So here you have, and keep in mind, President Carter was like a nice guy. I mean, you know, he was like a farmer. He was, you know, but when it came to Iran and all of the political turmoil that was taking place, he did what he had to do. He had to make sure he toed the line. Now, I don't want you getting confused with all the technology by, like, you know, Democrats over here, Republicans over here, the black President Obama here, the white President Trump here. Don't believe the hype. When it comes to that money, when it comes to national security, the blue Democrats and red Republicans, they come together as the Purple Party. History proves this time after time after time. So that's what Carter did. Carter in his era, like around 1979, he reigned from 1977, 1981. I think it was like 1979 when he snatched up that shit. So Carter did the same thing President Trump just did. After him, another president came. This president was President Ronald Reagan. His reign from 1981 to 1989, what do he do? The exact same thing Trump just did. Snatched up the boat, snatched the package. I mean, it's like people forget, who was it? The Somalians invaded the U.S. ship, you know. The people of Yemen, you know, they was doing that thing with the ships trying to get through. When it come to that package, you got to think this, look at the so-called gangster era, as they call it. When this so-called gangster is getting a tip that, yo, they getting that bootleg liquor coming down from Canada, they like, what? We intercepting that. We snatching that. I mean, that's what hustlers do. They like, what? How many birds in it? What? Oh, we snatching that up. See what I'm saying? This is the reality of the world we live in. It's like that with the Queen of England, the Emperor of Japan, China, Russia, Ukraine, you name it. Wherever that package is at, if you're not strong enough to keep what you got, believe me, the stronger lion, the alpha male, this is nature. Now, I mean, like you could be a fish in the ocean, when that whale come, when that shark come, now I mean, it's like it's nothing personal. It's going to take what you got. I mean, you know, it's like if the lion sees that zebra get snatched up by the hyenas, the lions is going to be like, yo, we need that. we come to get that zebra from them hyenas. I mean, the hyenas like, yo, this our joint. We work hard for this. You're gonna keep it if you're strong enough to keep it. But this is alpha male, alpha female. This is the law of the land. This is how real creatures in nature operate. The very first law of nature, according to the message Elijah Muhammad, is self-preservation. You see? So Carter did his thing. He took the Iranian package, the Iranian ship, and its cargo. Then Ronald Reagan came in. He took all the drug smuggling vessels. Reagan needed that package. I mean, and he spread that package all over the place, according to some estimates. All right. What was his justification? The law that he used back then was called the drug interdiction laws. Now, I mean, so even though Carter used a different justification or legal basis, he's like, it's hundreds of laws on the book. Just pick one. I mean, in this situation, we doing, you know, once a president says something is of national interest or national security, that gives them broad powers. You can have the privilege. I ain't gonna say right. A lot of people confuse their constitutional privileges as though they're constitutional rights. That's what people in Germany used to think until they got rid of all that kind of stuff. And, you know, and they was baking loaves of bread, burning money just to heat up the oven. I mean, you know, so things fall apart. Then after Reagan came President George H.W. Bush. That was 1989 to 1993. What did he do? He ain't just snatched the ships. He snatched the ships and the aircraft. Where the package was at, he took that. Sea or air. Now, it's a deep thing with international law. Now, I mean, it's a lot of confusion, you know, where presently, fortunately, especially for the poor, they do not focus on using those tactics inside America's borders against American citizens. They'll send, you know, troops at different cities and, you know, things of that nature there when things get out of control. Trump already showed he ain't got no problem sending his troops into a city where he like, oh, y'all don't have no control. We're going to bring in some control. Or they be like, oh, y'all got riots or whatever. Oh, we're going to stop that. Now, I mean, people forget Bill Clinton, when the Rodney King stuff was going on, Bill Clinton came out and told everybody, it was like 10 o'clock at night. He's like, listen, if y'all don't stop the rioting and looting by 12 o'clock at night, I ain't going to have no choice but to suspend the Constitution. That went over a lot of people's heads. They thought that they had constitutional right. They be like, no, we can suspend that. The president power would be like, Trump can suspend Congress. He can suspend the Senate. All he needs is the right national emergency. I mean, and there is no definition as to what that emergency is or would be. He has to use his own good judgment, discretion, and determine what he considers a national emergency. All right. So President Carter came, he snatched the boat. Reagan came, he snatched the boat. Bush the first came, he snatched the boats and the planes. Then come Bill Clinton. Some call him the first black president. I mean, Bill Clinton came in 1993, 2001. His thing was these ships were violating embargoes, so he took the ships of Iran, Iraq, and Libya under his legal justification was civil forfeiture and unaligned sanctions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He had plenty of reasons. Like, we just took it. We justified. I mean, then after him came President George W. Bush. 2001, 2009. You know, them Texas, they love them some oils. See, people forget there's oil already in the United States, but they smart. They think 100 years in the future, 1,000 years in the future. They take the oil, put the oil in their own refineries and store that stuff and be like, oh, we ain't gonna use our oil. We're gonna use Saudi Arabia oil. It's like, we're gonna use Venezuela's oil. We're gonna use Canada's fracking. We're gonna use Nigerian oil. We're gonna suck that oil up and store it over here in the United States the way the ancient pharaohs and kings and czars and sultans and gods been doing on this planet for eons. This is the real world we live in. So President George W. Bush, 2001, 2009, he took the ships and oil. Keep an eye, it's post 9/11. So he had a little more teeth in his thing. That's when they passed the Patriot Act. So they literally was like, we not just going after violators, we're going after the violators and anybody that gives them what they call material support. Now, material support is such a vague, that means you got to be careful what you say on social media, on a phone, in a letter, who you support, who you talk against, or whatever. Like in Germany, you just couldn't talk about the government. I mean, right now we still got freedom of speech, freedom of press, right to peaceful assembly, freedom of religion, and things of that nature there. But we have to keep in mind that any privilege or right a government gives to you can be taken away from you. See what I'm saying? See how they took an ink pen and they gave it to you? Say they signed, Abraham Lincoln, we're going to free the slaves in 1865. Another president, like, I'm just using for a hypothetical. This ain't real, but hypothetically speaking, China, Russia, India, Nigeria, aliens, whatever. Anyone that's stronger could come to this country and enslave all the black people and white people next year. And everything that we know of civilization, all of the things we took for granted, all of our religious freedoms and privileges, they'd be like, no, y'all are going to mine copper for our UFO. Y'all going to mine clover for our chemical experiments over here in our country. That's just the reality of the world in which we live. I mean, so President George W. Bush in 2001, 2009, he snatched up the ships and that oil under the Patriot Act, as well as anybody that gave material support statutes. So that means not just the violator, but the violator's homies, anybody that got part of that money. They could literally just follow the money and just snatch up, freeze bank accounts, all that. Now, I mean, anywhere on earth they can do that, all right? Then came our brother, President Barack Obama. Barack Hussein Obama. Hassan came in 2009, 2017. What did he do? He seized the Iranian oil tanker, took the ship, and took the oil. He didn't give it back. Why did he? What was his justification? Just like everybody else's, he just got another law. He used what's called civil forfeitures, sanctions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He just threw a lot of stuff all up in there, if you will. So President Trump did what President Carter did, what President Reagan did, what first Bush did, President Clinton did, the second President Bush did, President Obama did, and Trump did in his first term. People forget, back in 2017, 2021, during his first term, he used what they call a maximum pressure policy. I tell you, Trump, y'all, you see, y'all be sleeping on Trump. See, y'all think Trump crazy. Trump ain't crazy. Trump, he might be greedy, ambitious. He thinks like a CEO for real. He about that money. And you got to understand, when you have a figure like that with a bunch of people around him, they all got their own agendas. They all trying to eat in their own way. They all trying to institute their own little policies, but they understand that they can do it as long as they get him to sign off on it. So they in his ear. I mean, so during his first term, he seized the oil tankers of Iran under the narco-terrorism laws. All right. Then after him, President Joe Biden, who Trump called Sleepy Joe, in 2021 to 2025, he used the exact same forfeiture statutes that Donald Trump used in his first term. So here we got President Carter did it, President Reagan did it, Bush Sr. did it, Bill Clinton did it, Bush Jr. did it, Obama did it, Trump did it in his first term, and Biden did it. So it's like, why are we surprised to turn on the news and see Trump and them seizing this tanker? All right? We have to understand something. According to the American Hospital Association, what they basically do, they basically, every time a patient is rushed into the emergency room and they die on an operating table because of a drug overdose, they have to register that and record that. According to the American Hospital Association, over 80,000 North American citizens died because of fentanyl and other drugs. They OD'd and died. That puts things on a slippery slope because President Trump is saying he's going after narco-terrorists. And under that broad umbrella, he's like, oh, I'm going to snatch up MS-13. I'm going after the cartels. I'm going to secure the borders. I'm going to stop these deadly drugs from coming into the United States of America. So at present, he's like dropping bombs. Like if they in a speedboat with a package, they dropping bombs on the ships. I mean, this is getting into a slippery slope here, because think about it. I'm just using this hypothetically. Say a drug smuggler had 100 birds on a ship, and the U.S. military, Coast Guard, the DEA and all, they find out. They send a squad over there. They handle that. They blow up the ship and kill them. Now, say those same men had got those 100 things inside the United States, and it was in a truck, and they got surrounded and they got caught. They not going to get shot over the package. They going to jail. But now they getting blown up. So the Trump administration is sending a real deep, serious, strong message to the traffickers all around the world. Now remember, it's narco-terrorism. Remember, before the synthetic stuff came in, Afghanistan was growing all this natural stuff, like 70% of the crap that was going all around the world too. So they cracking down on that, saying, oh, we got to protect America's borders by any means necessary. That indicates at least this thing could get way, way, way more deeper than what it is, family. We're in the age of drones that used to be used in other countries. When you're able to enact a brand new statute, I mean, who knows what they may Trump may not even be there. It could be another president, Democrat or Republican, black or white, male or female. But say a future president is like, oh, this stuff is so crazy. Killed 80,000 people last year. They be like, we have to look at this as a declaration of war. We got to look at this as terrorism. We have to label these guys and girls that's doing this as narco-terrorists. And under that banner, now you're no longer going to be protected by your citizenship. You're going to be treated as an internal domestic terrorist. You're going to be treated as an enemy combatant. What kind of world that's going to be in the future with AI, with robots, and it's like, yo, it's going to be deep, family. So I want y'all to be aware today, the devil is not playing. And the Bible asks us a real simple question. Revelations chapter 13. Who is like the beast? Who is able to wage war with him? Think that over. The struggle continues. Assalamu alaikum. Peace to the gods. Peace to the goddesses.
Is the black man a father of civilization? Of course he is. Our original lessons taught that the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, father of civilization, God of the universe. But when Master Muhammad left our midst in 1934, Messenger Elijah Muhammad explained that he was sitting on a train, and as the wheels of the train began to turn, ideas or thoughts in his brain began to turn. He had to build a nation. His brother Khalid had turned against him. Many of the ministers disagreed with him. They thought that he was crazy for teaching that the prophet W.D. Fard was a law god in person, and that the supreme minister Kareem Abdul Muhammad was all of a sudden messenger Elijah Muhammad. So the messenger distinguished himself from others. He greeted the Muslims in his own way. He taught us the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of planet Earth, God of the universe. See, anytime you say father civilization, you're automatically taken away from God. See, if you're the father of civilization, if you're the father of anything, that means you're dealing with an effect and not a cause. Because the original man, 76 trillion years ago, he wasn't the father of anyone. He was alone. He alone was on the planet Earth 76 trillion years ago. He became a father later on. There was no civilization in the beginning, brother. The black man was God. Allah has no partners. He has no associates. The black man is God.